Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over the Dance of Dragons event. This is the first event of version 3.5, or at least the first new event, so we have a few more things than normal to be going over. But first things first, let's go into the usual. Let's go over the new glory related troop. It is a epic, so you can get it for 400 glory each. This means the arcane trait stones are very cheap at only 200 glory each, so if you want to go and accumulate a bunch of them, now is the good time to do so. The brown purple earlier on in the game you tend to use for something like a Drake Rider. Later on in the game you'd want to use it for fully traded Glaceon. As far as the troop itself, it's pretty much like a Hellcat, except slightly different. It transforms a chosen color to red, which is exactly what a Hellcat does, but instead of randomly hitting an enemy, it gives all other allies one single magic. This can be useful from time to time, of course, if they are really heavily magic dependent, particularly if they're full AoE or anything that hits all enemies and stuff like that. Also, it has slightly different coloration. It is brown purple instead of yellow purple, so in some instances this could be better. It also counts as a Dragon Knight, the dragon part of it in particular being particularly useful, since you could use this with a Dragon Soul as well as in the context of dragon related teams. As far as its traits, nothing really too good is gained on it. Also, now that this is version 3.5 and we have daily tasks, I highly advise, if you are a late game player and if you already have everything basically fully traded, to leave at least one troop untraded. So I will deliberately be keeping this guy untraded so that we can keep doing the constant thing that keeps coming up. There is one task that requires you, it's actually right here, that requires you to forge a trait for a troop. But if you don't currently have any troops that can be traded because you already have all of them maxed out, yeah, you can't get it. So definitely leave at least one troop untraded to keep doing that. Okay, so again, of course, we have daily tasks now too, to make sure to be doing that every single day. Very good value. One other nice little daily thing that has been added to the game as of the most recent patch, or not daily, but something to definitely be aiming for, which you probably were already doing before. But now, as you go up into the PvP leaderboard, just up to standard 1.9k, which is ridiculously easy to do on any account, even a completely brand new one, you'll be able to go and get a bunch of the new ingots. And these will be used to upgrade your weapons to give them additional effects, as well as for Kingdom Stars is the main thing that you would end up using most of them for. As far as the epic rarity and below, you basically use them for Kingdom Stars. The legendaries you use mainly for Mang and Divine Protector if you have it. And the mythic ones, of course, just go into Dawnbringer, assuming you have a Dawnbringer. There are other mythic weapons technically, but Dawnbringer is the only one that covers multiple colors, so it's really the only viable one currently to actually put them into. But yeah, as far as what I mean by putting them into a specific kingdom, let's say if we click a kingdom that currently needs one, like let's say Silverglade is a magic kingdom, so we definitely want to make sure we have our star level pretty high on this. If we click over to this, you can come to the page, and it said we had to go and upgrade 2 weapons. So in this case, we would just go do the cheapest 2. In this case, it's Silver Sword, which is rare, and the Staff of Magnus, which is ultra rare. And if we max both of those out, we'll be able to get the little star level thing for the next one. And you basically just do that, and those are the ones that you should prioritize all your epic and belows on. And again, this legend goes to Mang or Divine Protector, and of course the mythics go to Dawnbringer. So, as far as event objectives for the week, let's go over to the, it would help if I just click on event. If we go over to event, we have 10% to all dragons and 10% to all divines. Since it is a Guild War week, we're pretty much going to want to use either of those 2 hero classes then, either the Priest hero class or the Dragon Guard hero class. One other thing that might be useful in the context of Guild Wars might be using a Bard hero class, now that has all those other additional bonuses, since you'd be able to do that on Yellow Day to gain 1 to all stats among its other benefits. But other than that, you mainly want to be sticking with Divines and or Dragon class, just to use those for the benefits that you'll have. You gain 40 souls every single time you use Lord Ember, specifically in Explore, which is not really too worth going out of your way for, though this will allow you to synergize it with a Dragon Soul if you do want to go down that route. So that's one nice little benefit. And we have to do a bunch of treasure maps to do the objectives this week. A little bit annoying whenever it's a treasure map week, because you kind of have to go out of your way for it, but still decent rewards for doing so. So still highly advised to do it regardless, particularly if you are a newer player. As far as actually obtaining the souls, of course, just go to any kingdom you wish to obtain the trait stones from, and then simply just use anything with a with the new dragon that came out. So where'd it go? Where did I put it? Oh, I put it all the way to the bottom. But if we go use this team with a plus 40 souls, I'm using Dragon Soul, Lord Ember, Fairish Ra, and Umbra Wolf. If you don't have Fairish Ra, replace it with Azurus. If you don't have Umbra Wolf nor Fairish Ra, replace them both with Azuruses. If you don't have Azuruses fully traded, replace them with Warlocks. And can't get much cheaper than that, everyone should have. Warlock to 2 traits. It's pretty easy to obtain. But that would pretty much be the team. This you obtain for free, and the only other thing would be, of course, Dragon Soul, which is in the event key drop table this week. Also, I need to go over event keys, because event keys are insanely good this week. Not only did we get a new legend, which we'll be going over in a moment, but of course Dragon Soul is also in the drop table, which is used for a lot of things. It's really good for killing out quick explore, quick challenges. It's really good at soul gaining, 15 souls per cast, so 3 casts to max souls. And it's just really decent damage overall, particularly in the context of dragon-related teams. I could have already won. Never mind, it's still enough damage. But as you can see, easy max capacity, solo with just Dragon Soul. And we end up getting 40 souls among all the other souls that we got from Dragon Soul, which ends up being about 319. Of course, it could be quite a bit lower without a fair Shra and all that kind of stuff, but still, it's okay amount of souls. Not something I would go out of my way for, but it is an option to go use this week. Anyways, event keys. I already opened some for a previous video I was just doing, but yes. Let's go and just open a bunch, try getting the new legend. Really, really insane drop table. Main things in here that are really good, of course, are Dragon Soul, the new one that just came out, as well as Elamagrim. The Mythic is also in here. Let's see what we get, and that's exactly what we needed. We got the Divina I wanted. This is the new legend that ended up coming into the game. It is a insanely good support troop. Like, so ridiculously good. For one, it's Divine, so if you want to, you can use it on 4x Divine team. It's Dragon, so obviously you can use it on 4x Dragon. It explodes all reds, which is pretty decent for 15 mana cost. Most of them are more towards 12, but it has a lot of other beneficial things. It cleanses all allies, making it one of the most spammable cleanses in the game. The only thing being slightly more spammable would be Herdmaster. But on top of that, it also gives all other allies, or I mean all allies, including itself, life. Based on its magic, 1+ whatever its magic is, so that's a really substantial amount of life. Other than that, it also has a mana shield, one of the best basically things with mana shield. It's technically Yagwei would be ever so slightly better, though you could use Divina and Yagwei on the exact same team, and basically just combo them together as a double mana drain immunity for things like Famine, Corvash, stuff like that, to face up against those so that you have the immunity so that you don't get drained by any of the hits. And they also synergize together since Yagwei creates a bunch of red, and this explodes all of the reds. Other than that, the main thing you'll be using it for, and one of the reasons why it's probably the absolute best support in the game as far as a troop is concerned, is it gives a random positive stats effect every single time you get an extra turn. This essentially allows it to make your entire team just spammed with every stats effect there is. Things like Enrage, Barrier, Submerge, Enchant, all those kind of things you can just put onto your entire team just from constantly doing extra turn spam. Of course, it's pretty random, and it is possible that you hit the exact same effect on a troop. Like, you could barrier a troop and then re-barrier that exact same troop, but more often than not, you will pretty much just get a nice variety of every single stats effect onto your team, which is quite beneficial, since all of them are really good, and as well as any future ones that come into the game, it'll also be able to go and apply to them. Anyways, what are the things that we need to go do? Oh yeah, we ended up making the weekly tier thing, as I was just mentioning earlier. It is pretty good to make the leaderboard and to do the 1.9k. I don't believe I mentioned the leaderboard thing. Here it is. But if you make on top 1,000 of the leaderboard, you start to get epic ingots, and you can go and get pretty high ones. You get up to legend, you get up to mythics. As you can see, we ended up making position 91, which ended up giving us 5 of these epic ingots, which are quite useful these days. So let's go claim that. They also ended up giving out some for free, of course, because it is 3.5, a nice variety in there as well. We already went over earlier what you would end up allocating each one of those for, but there we go. And there's also a few more coming in on the next few days under the calendar over here, so definitely a good idea to log in the next 5 days or so. But yeah, let's go over the let's go over the Soulforge real quick. So, Soulforge. We have ourselves basically Tesla, and only Tesla. This is only good if you're a really early game player. It runs through basically everything in the entire game. Double Dwarven Gate, Valkyrie, Tesla, boom, you're good to go. Main reason why this is so good is it boost ratios itself, its damage. Well, for one, it's true damage, but it also ends up boost ratio basing on all armor within the battle, including the enemies. So basically, you'll scale up your damage based on the enemy's amount of durability, particularly its armor value, but generally troops gain HP and armor at about the relatively same rate, so you're always going to be gaining additional amount of damage against them, and it's just good against everything. Double Dwarven Gate makes sure you never die since it barriers your entire team, and Valkyrie just secures your mana, and it's just very, very strong earlier on in the game. Highly advised. to get it. It's one of the few legends I would say is actually worth crafting if you don't already have a copy of it. So definitely something to consider. Everything else, though, is completely useless, so don't bother crafting it. So, let's just go over that PvP thing, as I just mentioned earlier. That was the thing that I got sidetracked on, but was trying to think of. But yeah, ranked rewards, this was the thing I was referring to earlier. This is what we ended up reaching that I just showed. We ended up getting to rank 91, which is top 100, which ended up giving us the 5 epic ingots. Definitely highly advised if you have the time to try aiming for top 1000, as you do end up getting a small amount of extra ingots. It's actually worth now, finally, once again, to go for this leaderboard. Technically, the best possible position you can get is actually 7th to 10th place, because I feel like the legendary ones are more useful than the mythic ones at the moment, mainly because quite a few of the legendary weapons have some really interesting effects that make them quite a bit better compared to just putting on Dawnbringer, which doesn't particularly get anything too good, even though the weapon itself is already pretty decent on its own. But anyways, that's pretty much everything with all that. Let's go into some teams now. So, we have several teams to be showing. Oh, very annoying one right off the bat. But first off, we're going to be using basically standard Divine team with one exception. We're using Divina. So if you don't have a Ubistet or if you don't have an Infernus, this is pretty much the team for you. Of course, if you have Ubistet but not Infernus, just replace Infernus with Ubistet. If you have neither of them, what would you do then? You would need some kind of damage source to fit in there. I guess you would need... Oh, that's a hard one. The biggest problem with Divines are all of the good damage sources are Legends or Mythics, which makes it quite hard to actually build cheaply. Let's go move that over. We'll go with the weapon here. Do that on Queen Mab, so we can probably get the kill on her. We obviously do not want to be frozen. We do have Cleanse, so worst comes to worst, we could just keep doing that. As you can see, we're gaining a positive stats effect every single time here. We're also gaining HP because of our Hero Glass and bunch of other benefits, but as you can see, we have Barrier, we have Enrage, we have Submerge, we have another Submerge, we have Barrier again. It just keeps putting stats effects everywhere onto our team. Very nice. And if we don't feel like we have enough HP, well, we can just go clear the board, get pretty much all of our mana back, and just keep repeating it again, and go right back to where we were. Ideally, we'd have alignment here. We could just keep it going, but we'll slow that down. As soon as we get a kill, we actually get even more reds onto the board. We do have to be careful because Divine Ishbala actually will deny out all of our reds, which of course makes it harder for us to explode on this one, because it does deny out all of our reds. But our two ways to get that back up is, of course, using this weapon, ends up giving us reds, Divine Protector, as well as the fact that Infernus, after a kill, starts creating a red storm, which will, of course, allow us to get them a lot easier onto the board. So we'll throw in another Infernus here, get a little bit more damage. We have more stats effects on this team than we would know what to do with, and we'll just go for another Infernus, and down we'll go. But I guess a Pengalong would end up working, so I think it would be blocked a little bit too much. Yeah, they really need to add a cheap Divine damage. No, they don't need to add more Divines. Divine's already insanely good as it is. Anyways, let's go into cheap... actually, no, let's not do cheap Divine yet. I just skipped over the Dragon team. 3x, 4x Dragon. So basically, Divine Protector again, Dragon Soul, Lord Ember and Divina. And we can either go Divine Hero Class or Dragon Hero Class. Again, both of them have 10% this week, so either way, it's going to end up working out decently. Really just depends which way you want to go out. And since we're going to be kind of leveling up Divine Hero Class, I figured we just keep it as Divine. Of course, there is still the 50 gem charge to switch out your Hero Class, so not really that good to go and constantly keep switching it out. It's going to cost you a lot in the long run, so definitely want to try avoiding it the best you can. Build more towards to whatever your Invade Guild War is going to be for the week. So we'll go for a Dragon Soul right in there. We're doing 17 each since we don't have the final dragon to put it together, but we'll go and convert this over. Again, this is our first time we're using this, but it ends up getting transformed there. Ends up giving us 1 magic to all other allies, which can help out just a little bit. Not going to make too big a difference there, but main thing we're using it for, of course, is the red. And we're still getting all those stats effects. You can see Submerge, we got Barrier again, and we'll pretty much have plenty of them throughout the entire battle. We'll start Dragon Soul. We don't have as much damage on this team, but we have a lot more tankability as we die. We have a lot more tankability, instantly dies. But we'll go and throw down another Dragon Soul. Luckily, that wasn't actually too important to the overall damage of our team, even though it was one of the targetable things. It was not boost ratioing our Dragon Soul, so we'll still be fine. Basically, what we do with this is we just keep filling back our Dragon Soul, then we use this, and then it fills him back, and you just keep doing that back and forth, essentially over and over again to infinitely cast your Dragon Soul. And this is how you would end up using pretty much any team with a Lord Ember on a Dragon Soul team. I mean, a Lord Ember on a Dragon team would be Dragon Soul just infinitely looping over and over again using the boost ratio of every other dragon that you have on your team. Don't you dare kill us out. That's one annoying thing about Infernus as well. Submerge does nothing at all against it. Main reason for this is because of how he hits. He hits a single target and then he does adjacents. So it doesn't actually count as hitting everything, even though it technically does hit everything. It doesn't register as such. But I should probably be using this more. We can constantly keep gaining HP over and over and over again if we really want to play it safe. As you can see, it does give it everything, including itself. So if we're ever in a pinch and we just really need HP, we even out HP'd a Ubistet hit right there. So you can just keep spamming this over and over again. You could easily get to 1000 HP just from constantly spamming that if you want to. Really insanely good at gaining HP, even better than what Lady or Nariel is. So very, very nice, because it's a lot more consistent. Whereas Lady or Nariel can semi-miss, this will always at least get you a decent amount of mana, even if it does completely miss, assuming there's at least some amount of res on the board. Anyways, as I was showing here, Cheap Divina. This is if you have absolutely nothing to use due to not really having too many options. Here is the option for you. Sunbird, Lord Ember, Monkey Disciple, and Divina. Monkey Disciple and Divina both give HP buff. Sunbird ends up using HP for its damage, so basically you just keep constantly doing that to give Sunbird more damage. It does recycle that HP every single time it dies out though, so basically if you get it up to 100 HP, well, you'll be getting that extra damage for having up to 100 HP, but it's going to revert back to whatever your base is after you go and cast it, so do keep that in mind. Regardless though, we're basically just going to go rush Monkey Disciple, get the mana up for that, cast it out, get a few converts in there, and yeah, pretty much just keep spamming Sunbird. What's also pretty nice about this is Sunbird is a really cheap Firestorm if you don't really have many other options. Every time it kills itself out, you're going to be getting another one, so you'll be able to use that to your advantage as well. I kind of want to take this yellow-red, but I'm going to take a blue because there's so much red-yellow on this board. Oh, he denied us slightly. That we're just going to go for this and hope we land. Okay, we didn't land, unfortunately. That does give us full Sunbird, but not exactly what we want here. We'll go get our explosion up so we can start utilizing this. Our Sunbird got hit, so we're going to want to go get rid of that just to recycle it, get it back to normal stats. As you can see, we get more HP on it. The boost ratio is 1 damage per HP that it has, so we'll do that, get a little bit extra damage, and basically just keep repeating that until we win out to battle. It's a pretty decent team, obviously not the greatest thing out there, but if you need cheaper options, it's only ultra rare. This strip you can get for 400 glory this week. It's a rare, and of course the new legend that's in the event key drop table. So we'll go and throw the Sunbird, and if you ever need more HP, we'll just keep spamming this out. If it will click, go for that. Get a nice little Sunbird down if we can. He'll get a hit. Nice little stuns. We can't do our effect anymore. We can still cleanse just by simply getting this back up. So if we get an annoying stats effect on this, just go and get it off immediately, and there we go. Cleanse everything is pretty nice, and now Sunbird has way more than enough HP to take everything out. And yeah, Sunbird with that actually isn't too bad. Of course, you keep losing its HP, but you're basically giving it a magic buff every single time you give it HP, since you're essentially just increasing its overall amount of damage. But anyways, guys, that is everything for this event. If you still have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Definitely highly advised to throw event keys until you get both the new legend as well as Dragon Soul this week, simply because both of them are really good utilities to have. Dragon Soul is good mana accumulation as well as good early game damage, actually one of the best early game damage, as well as just good for souls. And of course, the new legend that just came out, the Divina, is really good support, one of the best immune to mana drains, and that final trait is one of the best stats effect applying effects, since you can basically just apply every positive stats effect in the game as well as into the future of the game to your entire team relatively easily. Gives a lot of HP, nice cleanse, and it's just overall quite a bit of fun to use. And of course, you could use it with your Dragon or Divine teams, both of which have 10% this week, both of which are also some of the best teams already in the game, so very nice with that. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Best of luck with opening your keys, and have a wonderful week. Goodbye, everyone!